So we have a problem. Only about 1/3 of US households are running some type of budget, which leads to the average American saving less than 5% of their disposable income. So in this video, what I want to do is share with you not only some of the basic ideas for how to save money. We've talked about a lot of these in the past, like creating a budget or setting up automatic withdrawals from your checking account to your savings account. We've talked about a lot of these basic ideas for saving money. But in this video, what I want to do is share with you 5 different habits or tactics that you can use that might be a little bit less commonly thought of that I use to save roughly about 20 to 30% extra of my income just by using some of these that I'm going to share with you in this video. So the first tip is to avoid buying a car. Now that's not actually the first tip. You probably were expecting that, because if you've been watching this channel for a few years, you'll know that I've been pretty against owning a vehicle just based off of the amount of expenses that are involved with a car. Sometimes we think it's just the price of a car, but we forget to factor in depreciation, gas, wear and tear, maintenance, and a variety of other different factors like insurance. So cars are very expensive. That's not one of the 5 points in this video, especially because I went against my own advice and ended up buying a car. So let's move on with the real actual video and talk about these 5 things that you can end up saving money with. All right, so the first tip that I have for you is to plan every meal that you consume. See, creating this system for meals, which by the way, food is the 3rd largest expense in our lives, only behind transportation and housing. We have food as a pretty big cost in our lives. So how can we reduce this cost without malnourishing ourselves? And the key here is to plan every meal that you're going to eat. And I remember I used to laugh at people when I would hear some of my friends or some people a little bit older than me would plan out their meals with the little meal planner. It just sounded funny, because for most of my life, I would just eat whatever I would want at the time. And if I was hungry for a burrito, I would find a way to get a burrito into my possession. Maybe I would make it. More likely, I would buy it from Chipotle or from some other place. And so creating this meal schedule, this meal plan, it can be super simple. It doesn't take you very much time. And in fact, not only is it going to save you a lot of money, because you're not going to be wasting as many ingredients, you're not going to have to worry about what to buy at the grocery store, just throwing in random things into your cart because you already have it planned out. So not only is it going to save you a lot of money, but it's going to save you so much time, because when 6 o'clock in the evening rolls around, you don't have to suddenly think, oh, I'm hungry. What should I eat? What should I do for this? Instead, you can look at your meal plan. You can say, oh, I'm eating chicken quesadillas tonight. I'm making spaghetti and meatballs. I'm making something else. And you already have it planned out. Now, this doesn't mean that you absolutely have to eat spaghetti for dinner. If you're not feeling spaghetti, you don't have to go out and eat it, but it gives you sort of this fallback, this option that you can use to do that. So let me show you my little meal plan here that I made with Google Sheets. I've been using this for maybe, I would say, the past couple of months or so, probably most of the summer. And there's some other tips that I could leave in here for you for saving a lot of money with this area. All right, so this is my extremely simple meal plan here. I just have simple things laid out Monday through Sunday. I start my week on a Monday, and then I just have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't have to abide by every single one of these, like I just said earlier, but it gives me a nice little idea of where I might want to be for something like this for my meals. And so you can set this up with something like Google Sheets, Excel, or even I actually just started experimenting recently with a couple of different apps that you can use. And also, if you remember my cooking skills from last year, they've gotten a lot better. I think we're gonna make another cooking video sometime soon. If you wanna see that, let me know down below in the comments, because last time, the cooking didn't go so well. I wasn't a chef. I've gotten a little bit better. I watched some Gordon Ramsay on YouTube, so I think I'm a lot better as a chef now today than I was a year ago. So maybe we'll make that cooking video at some point showing you the meals that I eat. Okay, so the next tip is to quit caffeine. Now, I know that's going to hit somebody pretty hard, some of the people watching this video, because a lot of us love caffeine. We consume caffeine nearly every day. And I think I'm going to create a separate video on this, because this is probably something that's going to take a little while to explain the reasoning behind quitting caffeine. A lot of it had nothing to do with personal finance, but some of it still does have to do with finance. And a great reason for quitting caffeine is because I sort of get the feeling that anytime that we sort of become dependent on something, I know a lot of people who need their coffee fix, they need their caffeine fix, or else they get headaches, they get shaky, they can't focus on anything until they have their coffee in the morning. Anytime that we get dependent on something, even if you can make your coffee at home for 20 cents per cup, it's still something that I try to avoid, because I think when you are dependent on something, it makes it a little bit less in your control and more so outside of your control. So for example of this, let's say that you're making coffee every day for 10 cents or 20 cents per cup, and it's fine. Maybe you're addicted to caffeine, but it's totally fine because it's pretty inexpensive and you like the taste of coffee. That's fine. But think about the times when you aren't in your house, you don't have your coffee maker, maybe you're at a friend's house somewhere or you're on a business trip and you need your caffeine fix in the morning, so you end up going to Starbucks and you pay $5 for coffees every time that you're not in your home being able to do that. So it can actually end up costing you a lot more money. So my idea behind this, and we can actually broaden this idea even more and say anything that you are dependent upon, it makes it a little bit less out of your control. For example, tobacco, cigarettes, even alcohol in some cases, where maybe you get hooked on something, you become dependent on something, and then you can't really control the finances around that as well. So that's something just to think about. So I do drink coffee, but I drink decaf coffee. I drink it for the flavor, and I don't do it very often. But for the most part, I have cut out caffeine. I will make a separate video on that, so if you're interested, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video sometime in the next few weeks. The next tip is to adopt minimalism. Now, I'm not in my traditional apartment. I have this summer place here, so there's a lot of stuff here. It was already furnished and it's kind of freaking me out a little bit. I don't like having a lot of belongings, and there's a couple of reasons for this, but actually from a financial perspective, I find that being a minimalist, by having fewer items and making sure that every item has some type of purpose in your life, by being a minimalist, I find it saves so much money because you have fewer items to replace when they break. You have fewer items that you have to worry about fixing all the time. If you have 25 different lamps in your apartment and you have to completely just change light bulbs all the time because they're burning light bulbs all the time, that's just going to be an extra cost for you. And that goes with a lot of other things, that if you just have so many things, you have trinkets, you have plates hanging up on the wall or something, or little rock salt lamps in the background that end up breaking, and then you have to buy a new one, and it just ends up costing you more money. So consider becoming a minimalist. I did my minimalist apartment tour sometime last year. I think the video did pretty well, and I'm moving into my new apartment in Philly sometime in the next few weeks. So I think I will be making a video about that as well. I know I'm promising a lot of videos in this video, but there's gonna be a lot of good ones coming out in the next few months. Now, as another tip, I also want you to consider something known as the 30-day rule. So we've talked something about the 24-hour rule, which was going to help you maybe not purchase spontaneous items that maybe it was on a whim, you just wanted to buy something and splurge on something and spend a lot of money. Happens to us quite a bit. But what I actually do, I would argue probably 90% of my expenses, is I use the 30-day rule, especially for those very large purchases. You should not be making those decisions on a whim to go out and buy something that might be $3,000 or $4,000, or one day you wake up and say, I'm gonna go buy a jet ski, or I'm gonna go buy a new car today, and you just do it before you can think about it, and then you end up with buyer's remorse, and then it's not very fun because the item was supposed to be fun for you, but you end up just feeling guilty about it because you spent all of your life savings on it, and it's just not a good situation. So use something like the 30-day rule. A great example of this is that I just bought a boosted board, which cost me about $1,600, which is sort of counterintuitive because you're watching this video saying, well, Nate's talking about saving money. He just spent $1,600 on this electric skateboard. Why did he do that? Well, this is something that I've been planning out for a pretty long time. I've been planning this out for many months, making sure that it fits my budget and making sure that I actually want to purchase this rather than just going out and splurging on it immediately and then regretting it. Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a while and made sure that it fit my budget. And so it's good to treat yourself to certain things. It's good to, buy things that you do want, because you don't want to end up being a Scrooge, being cheap, and just not spending any money whatsoever, but instead making sure that it fits into your budget in the long run by using something like the 30-day rule, which is going to allow you to spend 30 days thinking about purchasing that item, planning it out, making sure that it fits your budget before you actually go and buy that item. Okay, so I know that this video was titled 5 different habits or tactics that you can use to save money, but I need to include 2 more here on this list. And one of them briefly is to make sure that you're taking advantage of your 401k matches from your employer. This is basically just free money in a lot of cases. So if you're not taking advantage of that, I would definitely look into it. But the final point here that I want to bring to you, which, I've thought about this for many years. I've been making YouTube videos on this channel for about 3 years now. And my consensus here is very simple. If you are trying to save money, if you are struggling to save money, cut up your credit cards. Stop using your credit cards, put them in a drawer, get them out of your wallet, and stop using your credit cards. And there's been a lot of controversy around this. You see people talking about the benefits of credit cards and getting credit card rewards and getting credit card bonuses. But after talking to thousands of people and making videos that happen to get millions of views talking about this, I learned a lot about people and the things that we do with our finances. And I realized that credit card companies, even though they might offer $200 sign-up bonuses for getting a new credit card or 2% cash back, there's a reason why they're doing this. There's a reason why these credit card companies are offering these bonuses. They're not just doing it out of the goodness of their big bank hearts. They're doing it because they're making money off of people. And so my best advice to you is, especially if you are struggling to save money, just stop using credit cards. Get rid of them. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have credit. It's good to build a credit score. I do have some credit cards, but I very, very rarely use them. I very rarely carry them in my wallet. And I think for the most part, as a whole, credit cards are bad for society. Yes, some people can use them and they can benefit from them and they can get cash back and they can win with them and get travel. Yes, some people can do that, but I think it's not worth it overall. And if you're really trying to save money, just get rid of the cards. It's going to help you so much to avoid being in debt. So hopefully you found some value in this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I really do appreciate all the support. We're almost at 700 some thousand subscribers here. So thank you guys, and I'll see everybody in next week's video.